I originally planned to get on here and romanticize my life, but I think I'm just gonna talk about my old jobs because I miss working. For a long time, I was scared to work. I'm not gonna lie. Aside from driving and like getting your driver's license, I think having a job is like your first like ounce of responsibility when you're a teenager. So I was really scared for a long time. I was like, I don't want a job, please. When I started getting my own money, there was no stopping me. I showed up. My mom used to get mad at me because I used to show up 2 hours early because I'm like, I don't want to be late. I hate being late. Let's just get that out the way. I hate being late. So I used to show up one time I showed up 2 hours early. My mom was so mad. She was like, why would you have me drop you off right now? You just finna sit in here for free? Absolutely. Because I don't have a car. My mom had stuff to do. I was like, well, I don't want to be late, so I might as well come. No, I'll be here. As a matter of fact, I'll go next door and then I'll come back just so I'm not late. My first job was at Wendy's. I was 17. It was my first ever time working for a company. And I was excommunicated because they were being racist. In my second job, oh my gosh, my second job ever was fucking Amazon. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that? At the time, I had just moved out to Virginia to live with my dad. And I was out of a job for like 2 months, maybe 2 months, maybe a month or two. But either way, I was out of a job. I went to go work at Amazon. I got a job at Amazon and I was in online school and I was working at 7-Eleven. Baby, I had money, maybe like $1,000 a week, and I was spending all of it. All of that money's gone. We're broke now. People give Amazon a bad rep. People say that Amazon is the worst job they've ever worked in their lives, and they're right. But if you persevere and you really think about that damn check, anything is possible, babes. I put on Azalea Banks, bless her heart, new Bottega, Prada, do my works, do my 12-hour shifts. I was young, dumb and broke. And also I was working at my aunt's 7-Eleven. That job, that was like my favorite. That was like really my first peek into like retail. I guess you could call that retail because hello, this is a store. My first job was in 2022. Second job was in 2023. 2024 was I was booked. Okay. I always had a job. I've never like had to want for a job. Now I can't find a job and I'm losing my mind. But honestly, I think this is God's way of trying to teach me to start saving my money because this shit is not easy. It's wicked out. Let's go through 2024. That was my busiest year of working, period. So I moved to Virginia in 2023 and then moved to South Carolina in 2024. 2024, we had just moved into our house in South Carolina. I went to go apply around. I ran into this lady at, believe it or not, another Wendy's. I talked to the lady, I had my interview, and I charmed her. That's what I do. I'm a charmer. I was like, yes, hi, I'm Sage. You know, I just moved here from Newport News, Virginia. And she was like, oh, really? I'm from there. And I was like, oh, I'm in here. I'm in there. I worked at that job for 5 months. Longest 5 months of my life. The worst, by far the worst job I've ever had. Worse, even it was so much worse. It was worse than Amazon. And at Amazon I was standing on my feet for 12 hours. It's worse than Amazon. It was terrible. I was not only a team member, a cashier. No, honey, that's what I applied for. Team member / cashier. Now, there are other responsibilities that come with being a team member. You have to, prep food sometimes, make sure things are clean, take orders. But what I did not sign up for and what I was not getting paid for was to take orders, make food, bag food, prep food, talk to customers on the phone, count drawers. I was a shift lead. I was an acting shift lead getting paid as a crew member. Talking customers on the phone, talking them out of refunds. Like, hey, I know they fucked your order up, and I know they're just the people out here are slow. You and I both know. You can come by. If you can come by now. If you can come by, this is the first instance that I talked someone out of a refund. I said, if you can come by now, I can have them remake that food for you, fresh, everything fresh. You can watch us make it right at the front counter. If you don't have the time to do that, anytime you feel, with the receipt or not, tell them my name. Tell them that you have my name. Team member, by the way. Cashier, by the way. $15 an hour, by the way. And tell them that I said you can get all your food fresh and ready to go. But the manager at the time, There's tea about him too. But the manager at the time was like, let me reenact how the situation went. He said, the customer's on the phone. Hello, can I speak to the manager? Cause I'm just so upset. This is just terrible. Like, I had to come up there and whoop y'all ass. The manager at the time, this is what he was like. Hold on. Holding the phone to his chest. Sage, can you come here? What for? What for? Can you handle this? Can you take this call for me? The tea with the manager. I remember I was closing. I usually worked from 7 to 3 in the morning, and I was closing. And I usually wait on Ubers. Even though my house wasn't that far, I was waiting on Ubers because it was dark as fuck. I could have walked, but it was 3 in the morning. I'm not walking my dainty ass outside at 3 in the morning. They could snatch me up. I used to get Ubers. I got my Uber, and I decided to sit in the lobby and wait. And what the fuck do I hear while I'm sitting in the lobby on the day God knew, because this was the one day I left my AirPods. The one day I left my AirPods at home, didn't have no other choice but to listen to everything going on around me. The one day I left I'm sitting in the lobby on my phone. I'm like, ugh, can this Uber hurry up? They were 4 minutes away. I will never forget. 4 minutes away. And all I hear is these fuckers from my white assistant manager of the manager of this store just called all these black people in here. Nobody was there. It was just me. So I was the only one. Everyone left, and it was just me and him, and I was in the lobby, but he thought I left because I said, all right, bye, mister. Goodbye, sir. And I left. I went to go sit in the lobby, but he thought I left the building. So I'm on my phone, and all I hear is these niggers. Did I hear what I heard? I don't think I heard what I heard. So I left because I didn't know what that man was going to do if he heard me say that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just me and him. He didn't know I was here. I didn't know what was going on. And I honestly didn't even know if I heard it right. So I was like, let me mind my black ass business. So I left. I went home and I told my dad the next day. And my dad was like, you should have said something to him. I heard him say it again. I was taking orders. I had this like this. And I was taking orders because so I was taking the order, and I heard from the manager, he was standing on this side, and he was making some sweet tea over there, whisking that shit up. And I was like, I know I heard it. I can hear you clear as day. Mind you, this was on the clock. Everybody was here. Room full of black people, and he's the only white man in the building. And he said, I hate these fucking niggers. I hate these. I said, excuse you? Excuse me? Excuse me, bitch? I said, excuse me? What did you say? He said, huh? I said, what did you say, Mr. Blank? What did you say? And he said, I didn't say and was walking away. I was like, I know what the fuck. I'm not stupid. I know what you said. You don't have to admit it. I heard you with your dumb ass. I'm supposed to be working. And this is why when I decided to be a big girl, a grown up woman, because at first I was upset. At first I was so mad to where I was letting it affect my work performance. I was like, I ain't finna do shit. You think I'm finna bag this food for this white man? You think I'm finna put the fries in a bag? But I realized, I'm like, if I get fired, it's literally my word over his. Nobody else heard it but me. I don't know how, but even if they did, I told the black people, and them niggas is cool. They over here laughing. Them niggas was laughing. They're like, ah! What about that is funny? I don't find that funny. And I know it could be one of those things like we don't get paid enough to care, but at the same time, it's like if you let this man get away with what he's doing, he's gonna keep doing this shit, gonna keep acting like this, gonna keep thinking that this is okay. No, it stops here. Let me act my age. Let me act my age. So I said, Mr. Blank, can I talk to you outside? And I took him out back and I whooped that. So I said, I think you owe me an apology because I'm a damn hard worker. I come in here and I work my ass off. You owe me an apology. And I'm like, well, then why do you think that that's okay to say? What about that is okay? He was like, it's not, being all. And I'm like, okay, don't let it happen again. It happened again. To make a long story short, he's dead. I'm kidding, no. I got him fired. I thought he was going to kill me, y'all. I thought he was going to show up to it. Hi, thanks for choosing Wendy's. What can I get started for you? Sage, bet. And then pull up to the window. and blah. I ended up leaving that job because I was just tired. I'm like, I'm tired of this shit. They don't want to promote me. Y'all don't want to promote me. I'm leaving. Next job, I worked at Jimmy John's. I worked at Jimmy John's making sandwiches for the rich white man, doctors, army people, lawyers coming in getting lunch. And I just felt so so boots coming in just fresh, bright and early in the morning at 11 o'clock, leaving at 2. My shift was from 11 to 4 because I could have sworn I've had 5 jobs in 2020. Okay, so this is how it was. It was like every 5 months I got a new job. So I started off at Wendy's. Then 5 months later in May, I got a new job at Jimmy John's. And then from May to September, roughly 4 months later, I got a job at Hardee's. I started working at Hardee's, and that was the longest job I've ever kept, from September to June of this year. From September of last year to June of this year, I was working at Hardee's, and it was the same old. Jimmy John's was chill. Jimmy John's was cool. Hardee's was a hot mess. And I used to tell my dad about all the work drama I had, and my dad used to be like, you care too much. Go in there, get paid, and go home. And I'm like, you're right. But at the same time, no. I felt like Sabrina Speltman. Everything that bitch did was a declaration. I'm Sage Harris, and I will not put the fries in the bag. I was like, no. I have a problem with this, and I'm going to let somebody know I have a problem with this. I hated that job. I hate fast food, period. I hate fast food. Jimmy John's was the only fast food job that I worked that I loved. And I took that for granted too. But I hate fast food. I hate it. But yeah, that's literally just all my work experiences that I've had so far. Hopefully I have more. Please. Anyways, bye.